Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that, well, honestly, it usually gets totally overshadowed by the clinical side of things, and that is the profound relational impact of a breast cancer diagnosis. When we think about cancer, we almost always picture the doctors, the hospitals, and the physical toll it takes on the patient. But serious medical conditions rarely happen in a vacuum, right? They happen within a relational context. So today, let's explore what the science actually says about the shared journey of navigating breast cancer as a couple and discover exactly how partners can protect their relationship when the unthinkable happens. Here is a quick roadmap for our explainer today. First, we'll look at why cancer is a shared journey. Then, how couples cope, the incredible power of we-ness, the unique hurdles that young couples face, and finally, we'll wrap up with digital support and connection. All right, let's jump right into section 1. Cancer is a shared journey. There is a quote that perfectly captures a deeply human reality here. Overnight, couples often find themselves shifting from husband and wife to patient and caregiver. I mean, think about that. In an absolute instant, the stress of surgeries, chemo, radiation, and just the sheer crushing uncertainty completely rewires the dynamic of the relationship. It's this sudden, incredibly jarring shift in identity for literally both people involved. And this shift creates some massive ripple effects. Communication, for starters, totally changes. Often, you'll see one partner trying to stay relentlessly positive, while the other is just quietly struggling with fear. They kind of hide their emotions to try and protect each other, which ironically creates this huge distance exactly when they need closeness the most. Physical intimacy also takes a hit, whether that's from scars, sheer fatigue, or body image concerns. Household roles flip completely upside down, breeding a lot of guilt and exhaustion. Oh, and throw in the compounding pressure of financial stress from medical bills and missed work. It is basically a perfect storm. Moving on to section 2, how couples cope. So, psychological research broadly categorizes how we cope into two opposing camps. On the one hand, we've got approach-oriented coping. This basically means turning toward the problem. You're expressing your emotions, seeking support, and solving problems head-on. On the flip side, we have avoidance-oriented coping. This is when you turn away from the issue. It involves minimizing the threat, maybe slipping into denial, or just totally checking out. Naturally, you can probably guess that approach-oriented strategies are generally linked to a lot less distress, while avoidance, that just breeds more of it. When researchers actually study this dynamic, they use a few specific theoretical models. The top one looks at just individual coping. Simple enough. The middle one, called the partner main effects model, asks, okay, how does the husband's coping directly impact the wife's adjustment? But that bottom one, that is where the magic happens. It's the partner interaction model, and it looks at how both partners' coping styles actually interact and combine to predict the patient's overall well-being. It's like a puzzle fitting together. So what exactly happens when we look at the data? Well, this regression model highlights an absolutely crucial finding about that avoidance coping we just talked about. The data actually shows that when male partners try to avoid thoughts, feelings, or discussions about their wife's cancer, maybe to protect themselves, or honestly, even trying to protect her, it actually predicts a measurable decline in the wife's marital satisfaction 10 months later. That is a huge takeaway. Emotional withdrawal literally erodes the relationship over time. Let's look at a better way in section 3, the power of we-ness. So, what is we-ness? It's this fascinating psychological framework where a couple views the illness as a strictly shared problem. It's not her cancer, it's our challenge. And this is so absolutely vital because it creates this necessary healthy boundary between the couple and the illness itself. It stops the disease from entirely hijacking and defining their relationship. Instead, it lets them team up and face the stressor together, like a truly unified front. And the research outcomes 20 months post-diagnosis? They back this up beautifully. When both partners present a congruent low avoidance front, the patient experiences the highest levels of vitality and the lowest depressive symptoms. If they both use approach-oriented coping, they actually find increased perceived benefits from the cancer experience. Crazy, right? Like developing a much deeper appreciation for life. And get this, even if they cope differently, say one is super emotional and the other really isn't, they can actually compensate for one another, leading to improved marital satisfaction. The whole key here is engagement, absolutely not withdrawal. Moving right along to section 4, unique hurdles for young couples. For younger couples, a breast cancer diagnosis is what psychologists call an off-time life event. Basically, the disruptions are severe and they happen way too early in life.
We're talking about the potential loss of fertility and the agonizing derailment of family planning. They might face premature chemotherapy-induced menopause. Plus, they're often juggling all of this while trying to raise little kids and manage early-stage careers. You see, older couples might have built deep relational resilience over decades, but younger couples, they are often still pouring the foundation when this massive earthquake hits.
And here is the deeply frustrating part. It's a real catch-22. Precisely the people who need this psychosocial support the most are often the least likely to actually get it. Think about it. Young couples navigating cancer. Young kids and careers are already stretched completely thin on time and money. The sheer idea of finding a babysitter, taking time off work, and driving an hour across town to sit in a traditional therapist office, for a lot of them, that's just an impossible hurdle. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, Digital Support and Connection. Enter a program called Couple Links. This is a customized, professionally facilitated online intervention developed specifically for young couples dealing with breast cancer. It basically takes all these evidence-based relationship enhancement principles, like that amazing concept of we-ness we just discussed, and beams them directly into the living rooms of busy, totally overwhelmed partners. Here's exactly how it builds that stronger relationship, step by step. The program features 6 progressive learning modules that couples tackle once a week. They kick things off by celebrating strengths, identifying the unique assets they each bring to the table. Then, they move through understanding each other's inner worlds, tracking positive connections, and explicitly building that unified front against cancer. There's actually even a module dedicated to getting physical, which helps partners safely and gently reconstruct their physical intimacy after the trauma of medical treatments. It's highly structured, it's actionable, and it's incredibly hands-on. But wait, they aren't just clicking through some generic, static website. The absolute genius of this program is something called the dialogue room. Couples get asynchronous support from real, actual mental health professionals, so they can log their reflections and exercises on their own schedule. Maybe it's 11 p.m. after the kids are finally asleep, right? And then a trained facilitator reviews their progress and provides tailored, private, professional feedback. It completely removes the barriers of time and travel, all while keeping that absolutely crucial element of expert guidance. The research here is incredibly clear. Cancer might be a medical diagnosis for one, but it is undoubtedly a psychological and relational journey for two. Facing it with avoidance, that just tears the fabric of a relationship apart. But facing it with approach-oriented coping and a deep, grounded sense of we-ness, that can actually forge a bond that is stronger than ever before. So as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Whether you're dealing with a serious illness, financial stress, or honestly, just the daily grind, how will you and your partner build your unified front? Thank you so much for exploring this shared journey with me today. Keep learning, keep leaning into your relationships, and I will see you in the next explainer.